the hardest year of my life since being in this work. I experienced a separation of my marriage, a deterioration of my team, and a emergency lung surgery from all the repressed grief that I didn't allow myself to feel in those moments. But what I can tell you about this contrast, about that year in my life, is that it has prepared me for the woman that is sitting here in front of you today. I've received multiple awards and accolades and trips and accomplishments, but these are not the things that make me so fulfilled. These are not the things that make me so happy. Those things that actually bring me true peace, true love, true joy into my life are the connections that I have with myself and with others, my ability to serve people through this work, and to step into the real version of me that lies within. We have people who have made millions and millions of dollars. We have people who have quantum leaped their life, who have manifested awards and accolades and #1 best-selling books. We have people that are making a significant difference in this world because they're choosing to become an elevated version of them. The biggest thing that I can tell you right now, and the biggest learning from this journey, is please do not underestimate yourself. Please dream bigger and choose grander. And I want to say thank you for joining me, for choosing you, and for allowing me to be the vessel that guides you towards the light that you are being drawn to in this moment. Only love and gratitude. Kathleen.
Good morning, all you beautiful souls. How is everyone feeling today? I am so grateful. It always goes to my big face, which, yes, I'm so beautiful and so honored that I have this gorgeous face, which I never believed before. So we'll talk about that. But I love to see all your beautiful faces. So if you can turn your camera on if you are on Zoom, please. It will also help you to engage in the energy, and vibrationally you will be impacted more by the training if you are off, if your camera is on. If you can't, we're not judging you. That's okay. We're just grateful that you're here. But if you are here and you want to get the most out of it, then please turn that camera on so we can see your beautiful face. I am so excited, so grateful, so happy to be here. I'm at home in Toronto, Canada. I'm going to be embarking in a couple of days. I'm going to be gone for about 3 weeks. So I've been enjoying my time here home with my daughters, and I got to be almost 2 full weeks with them. And while it helps me to grow, it is always so beautiful to be able to spend that time with them. So I'm grateful. This live event is called Who Do You Think You Are? And it's an identity masterclass. And it's so interesting how things come into your life in certain moments, and things happen in certain moments that are so special. I went for dinner last night with 4 beautiful women that were some of the closest women to me in my life before this work. So in 2018, early 2019, I was in a network marketing business with them. And we went for dinner last night. I hadn't seen one in 5 years. A couple of them are actually in Millionaire, or have been in Millionaire. But it was so beautiful to be able to sit at that table with these women. And some of them I haven't really spoken to or seen since this work, to be able to, it was a beautiful frame of reference for me to sit with them and to really see how much change has happened for me in my life, and how much this work has impacted my circumstance, my daughter's circumstance, the way I live my life, the way I show up, the way I think, the conversations that I want to have or don't want to have, all that kind of stuff. And so it was so beautiful. And they've watched me, they've seen what has happened over the 5 years, and they were so loving and so kind and so supportive. And so for those of you that do have a fear that if you grow, that you're going to lose people, or that you're going to separate yourself, or you're going to end up on an island, or nobody's going to resonate or anything like that, I just want to say that everything always returns to good. And so no matter what happens, no matter who you go out of alignment with, there's always an opportunity for you to go back into alignment. So just remember that. And I hold the vision that everyone will eventually ascend and grow with me. So if it's not going to be today, it'll be tomorrow. And I'm always going to just keep rising. And you can join me for that or not. That's entirely up to you. But I hold the image that they will. So super, super grateful that I got that beautiful frame of reference tonight. And it's going to serve me in teaching this material to you guys for the next 2 days, because I was reminiscing last night about what did I do and what did I used to think? What were the topics I used to talk about? What were the feelings that I used to be in? How did I used to see myself? And it was just a reminder of where I'd been, which is going to be a beautiful, teachable and coachable moment for us over the next 2 days. So welcome to this masterclass. Who do you think you are? I titled this masterclass that name because I was literally sitting at Jason Derulo's compound in Los Angeles, California, filming a course with him. And I sat there and I thought to myself, who the heck do I think I am? I am a registered nurse from Ontario, Canada, a mother of two, that has ended up in a situation like this. And I just thought, man, we are unlimited. We can literally be, do, have anything that we want, but it does involve making some changes within. And so I'm going to share with you what some of those changes were, who I think I am, who I used to think I am, and some of the theory behind it. If this is your first time ever live, can you let me know that this is your first time on a live training? It helps me to know if I want to go a little more advanced or if I want to start off a little bit lighter and then get advanced with the topic. So let me know if this is your first time. And if it's your first time, I welcome you. It's not going to be your last. If this material is resonating with you, it's because truth is operating in you and you know it. So keep moving and going the course. Keep moving in this direction. Let it be your truth. Let it be your light. Welcome home. We always say House of Manifestation. We call it home. And we say, welcome home. We're welcoming your soul back home to itself. So grateful to have you here. I will go deep, don't worry, but I might start a little lighter if we have a lot of first timers. Don't worry. But if you want to go real deep, you should take Spiritual Leader, okay? My Spiritual Leader course this week, somebody messaged me after, Yuki messaged me, and he said, that one lesson you just taught on Wednesday was worth $10,000. Wednesday, we talked about spirit and your oneness and connection to the divine and how you can channel the divine in order to lead through your light and through your divinity. It was so powerful and profound. It was really, really beautiful. It was God-led, I'll say that. Anyways, but if you want to go deeper, if you want to go that deep, talk to the team about what's available for you to go deeper with me for sure. So what do I mean by talk to the team? Okay, back it up, Kathleen Cameron. I have a beautiful team that supports me. I cannot do this alone. This is a multi-million-dollar organization. We support over 1,000 students every single year through courses, programs, live events, retreats. We also now have our House of Manifestation meetups around the world. So I have a beautiful team that supports me, and they will have emailed you, welcomed you to the live event. You might have gotten a phone call or a text. They're here to support you and guide you. So they're your manifestation mentor. Would the members of my team please raise your hands so people can see your face? Everyone on my team has a Diamond Academy email address, okay? So they're not going to be coming to you with a Yahoo or a Google or anything like that. They have a Diamond Academy email, every single one of them has been personally trained and mentored by me and been in my energy and believe in this work and this material in the same way. They are an extension of me. And so I can't talk to everybody. I try. And they help and they support me. So if you have been hearing from them and you haven't reached out yet, I would highly, highly encourage you to have a conversation with them, have a chat, see how we can support you, serve you, and help you along your journey. Every single one of them leads with beautiful love. Lead, love, and serve, right, Deborah? Love it. Okay, so the other thing that I want to let you know, a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to be here for 2 hours for the next 2 days, 10 to 12. Replays will be emailed out probably mid to late afternoon. It will go to your email. If you aren't getting our emails, it's going to your junk mail. Please just mark them as safe, and then you will get our emails. And if you really aren't getting our emails, you can always email at diamondacademy.ca, Canadian.ca, and we can get you set up. So we can try to see what's going on in the back end, why you're not getting it, connect you with your manifestation mentor. If you haven't heard from yours yet, we do have a form you can fill out if the team will put it in the chat. If you're on the YouTube channel, we always have that link on every single replay page for you to fill out the form, and the team will connect with you when you're ready to have that chat. Fair enough? Okay, I want to start, before we get into the content, I want to start off by doing a prayer. I am going to award a scholarship over the next 2 days. So if you're someone that has been waiting for the scholarship announcement, it will be tomorrow. If you haven't filled out the form, there's an application form for the scholarship. So if you haven't filled out that form for the application, you got to talk to the team, please. They'll ask you a few questions, see if you qualify, and then if you qualify, they'll have you fill out the form. So it's a $3,600 scholarship that will be awarded tomorrow to be used towards Millionaire or Modern Mentor program. Okay, so reach out to the team if you haven't put your name in for that. So let's do a quick little prayer. This is my favorite prayer from Neil Donald Walsh in Happier Than God, which is my all-time favorite book, that and Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. This prayer is so beautifully written. I'm going to change a couple of words just for our situation and the way that we are existing in this moment. So please put your hand over your heart or close your eyes or do whatever you feel called to do. Thank you, God. Thank you for this live event and for this life, and for the wonder of this beautiful moment. Thank you for bringing us all together as a collective to raise consciousness together. Thank you for everything that has ever happened to me, to us, to you, and is happening now, and ever will happen. For all of it has produced the perfection of this next breath and the glory of who I am now going to be. Amen. If you are someone that does not engage in prayer, I would just ask you to open your heart, open your mind, to allow yourself to pray in a way that feels beautiful for you. Prayer can also be done in the way of visualization, accessing your imagination. It can be conversation. To pray means to ask for. Now, the way in which I love to pray is with a thank you. So if you are truly knowing that every single one of your prayers is going to be answered, you don't even need to ask, you just say thank you, which is so beautiful for the way in which Neil has channeled that prayer through God. So welcome everybody to the Identity Masterclass. I want to start off by defining what those terms mean. I know somebody asked me the other day, what's the difference between self-concept, identity, and self-image? You know, all of these different words and categorizations and terminology to describe something, right? And so I will use whatever language for me feels the best for me in that moment. So you choose which language feels good for you. When I think about self-concept or identity, and I think about what I think about me, so what is the truth of who I think I am, I'm talking about conditioned awareness. So what I'm talking about is the conditioning in my mind. I'm talking about the ideas that exist inside my intellectual mind about me. And you know what one of those ideas was years ago, 5 years ago? That I'm a human. And that's it. So I believed that I was this human body, that Kathleen was this body, was this meat suit. And so because I believed that, and I had no other idea in the mind, I thought that that's who I was. I also believed that I had a personality and I was born with the personality. And so it just was natural to me and it just came and that's what it is. And I am who I am and I can't change it. And so I lived my life in the belief that my body really, really mattered. How I looked really, really mattered. How big my body was, the shape of my body, my height, the color of my skin, my gender, my race, all of that, the appearance of me was important and mattered. And so I lived my life according to that. And that's where a lot of shame and guilt came because I never measured up to an ideal standard. So the other piece with that then is I also believed that I had a personality that couldn't be changed. So then I was in this like stuck place of like, well, I'm not very beautiful and my body isn't thin enough. And now I'm not even that funny. I'm not that charismatic. People don't like me. And so there's nothing I could do about it. So I was in a state of suffering within myself, of disliking myself. And I didn't even know that I didn't like myself until I started to like myself. Okay, so it's so natural and it's so normal to be displeased with yourself that you don't even realize it until you start to be pleased with yourself. And then you're like, oh, that's what's been going on. I've been really nasty to myself. And now I'm being kind, and kindness feels really good. I'm starting to lift myself up. I'm starting to think differently, right? So all of these ideas that live in the mind, the conditioning, the patterning, the programming that exist in the mind, they aren't just what they are because I was born that way. They are what they are because of the way in which I was raised. They are the suggestions that I heard. They are somebody else's thoughts, somebody else's ideas, and usually the collective, right? And so we hear from outside of us all the time. Things, we accept those things as truth, and then they become our truth. So for me, one of the ideas I had in my mind, the concept that I held, was that I was fat and ugly and therefore was less than, was inferior, right? This is an idea that I had in my head. And I had that idea in my head since I was a 7-year-old girl. I remember at 7 years old, I used to take my lunch to school and I would eat the apple because somebody said an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So I would eat the apple and I would throw everything else in the garbage, and I would drink water all day because somebody told me water flushes the fat. And so at 7 years old, I was starving myself, having 1 apple a day and water, because I believed I was so flawed and so broken, and I was such a problem that that's the way in which I behaved. So no surprise, at 37 years old, I'm over 300 pounds, so ashamed of myself, feeling so much guilt for who I've become and who I am, and I'm a problem that's still not fixed. So can you imagine what my life experience was like in here? To be 37 years old and be like, it's been 30 years that I've been doing this. 30 years of shame and guilt, trying to fix it, gaining it back, trying to fix it, gaining it back. So these are ideas, these are self-concepts, these are thoughts in my head that are not my own, and they are not real, and they are not true. So one of the things that I say all the time is, according to who? I say this now because I'm like, okay, according to who? Like, who was it that said that having a larger stature body is a bad thing? Who said that? And is that in fact true or truth? And what if it isn't truth? And how can I change that? And so that was the beginning of all of this for me, was to realize that the ideas that I hold in my mind are not truth and they are not reality, but to understand that the ideas in my mind are creating. They are creating my life. So can you imagine if I had lived a life starting at 7 years old of loving myself and thinking I was worthy and thinking that I was good enough, and waking up every morning and being like, man, Kathleen, you're really amazing, you know that? How different would my life have been, those 30 years have been, if I believed that instead? Not because I would have been thin. Like, I can love myself in a larger body. I taught myself that in 2019. And so I tell you this because I want you to see that the ideas that you hold in your mind, they matter significantly. I'm actually going to tell you several reasons why this identity is so important and why you want to change it. But our human experience here, the way in which we experience life, it really, really matters. So many of us are so concerned with helping everybody else live a happy life. We want to make our husbands happy, our wives happy. We want to make our kids happy. We want to make our friends happy, our staff members happy. And so we're just appeasing everybody else so that everybody else is happy and they live a happy life. And then we're sitting in here in this internal state of suffering in our minds because we don't think we're worthy of a good human experience while we're here. So I want to change that. I want everybody to realize that your internal experience that you are having right now matters, and you are in fact influencing other people's inner world and inner experience by bettering your own. So your kids will experience self-love at a young age when you master self-love yourself. You will then teach them that instead of teaching them displeasure. and self-hate. But anyway, so one of the biggest beliefs that I changed initially was that I am not a human just having a human body experience. In 2019, I decided to believe, and I say this, I decided to believe because you choose your beliefs. I decided to believe that I'm actually a spiritual being having a human experience, which means that I am not just this body. I am far more than this body. I just exist in this body. This is the vessel that I'm hanging out in during this iteration. And so when I had that realization, several things started to happen. I went, oh, okay, so you're telling me that there is this whole higher experience, there's this higher level being that exists, that there's actually like a soul. You call it a soul, you can call it your spirit, your God essence. I love to call it God essence. I don't know where that came from lately, but I love that so much. And so now I understand that there's the duality between the soul's perspective and the human perspective, and that when the soul meets the human experience, and they really, really amalgamate and they align perfectly to one another, we experience bliss, we experience joy, we experience awakening, enlightenment. All those beautiful experiences start to occur. And so, some will say in 2019, I found God. You can say that, that's fine. Not in a religious sense, but a spiritual sense. Or you can say that you reconnected with your soul, or you remembered the truth of who and what you really are. But I can't talk about identity and self-concept without first talking about the reality that I no longer believe that I am simply a human with a personality. I actually believe that there is far more going on here, and that I am awareness, and the self-concept and identity that I live from every single day is conditioning, and it's conditioned awareness that exists in the mind. And now I live my life from that place instead of these rogue ideas of who I am in my mind that were never ever true anyways. So I hope that makes sense for all of you. What if you believe that we're spiritual beings having a human experience? And what if you believe then that if you look at yourself from the soul's perspective, you will actually see your light? If you look at yourself through the soul's perspective, you will actually see the truth of who you are, which is love, right? The truth of who we are is not judgment, it's not blame, it's not guilt, it's not displeasure. The truth of who we are does not judge ourselves. It loves ourselves unconditionally. And so I always try to, when I'm thinking about the identity that I hold, the ideas of who I am in my mind, I always try to think from the soul's perspective, from outside of the mind. And then I go back into the mind and reprogram it, to reprogram the ideas in the mind. So when I'm going to be talking about identity right now for the next 2 days, I'm going to be talking about the intellectual plane. I'm going to be talking about more mindset focused things and how they allow you to manifest. But I don't want us to forget that the spiritual realm and spirit is the truth of who we are, and it is the most important. And so when we connect with the truth of who we are, and then we reprogram our identity from there, this is how the real magic starts to happen. So there is no manifestation without God. Manifestation is of God. And you can say universe, spirit, source, infinite intelligence, whatever language feels really good for you, you use that, the God of your understanding. But where my power really started to take off, and where I started to see significant change in my outside world, was when I started to believe in something greater than simply my humanity and my human experience. So I hope that's helpful. So what is identity, self-concept, and self-image? Self-image was the way in which I was first taught this work, identity work. I no longer use the language self-image because I found myself being tripped up about the image of what I look like. And so for me, the truth of who I am is not my appearance. My appearance has changed drastically. It's been very transformative. I know you guys tell me all the time, but I want to make sure that we realize that the outer world change is simply an observed transformation, but what you're observing is actually an inner transformation. You're just observing it on the outside. I actually feel like I'm actually getting younger as I'm getting older in terms of my appearance because of this work. This work will make you younger. You will become more youthful. because you are letting go of those things that are making you heavy, those things that are aging you, stressing you out, those things that are wreaking havoc on you. Once you release those things and you get lighter and lighter and lighter, you will find that you will start to look younger and younger. And of course, you will feel younger and younger as you do it. So it's beautiful. But if you want to have an outer transformation, you must have an inner transformation first. And so there's the physical changes in the way that my appearance is, but there's also the physical changes in my life. My life right now is completely different than my life before. I feel like I'm living like in like a alternate reality sometimes, because the old version of me was a registered nurse, went to work every single day. We lived in a smaller house in Guelph, Ontario, and there was commuting and meetings and emails I couldn't keep up on. And I used to lay in bed at night and worry about all the things that I needed to do and had to get done. And now this is not my life anymore. Now my life is just traveling around the world, teaching this material, living in my passion and my purpose. One of the things that I noticed that no longer exists in my life is the feeling of dread. I used to have that before. I used to dread things. Oh man, I look forward to everything I do now. Everything I do. It's like I look at my calendar and I see some Zooms on there and I'm like, oh yes, can't wait. Like everything I do is like, I can't wait to do that. There's nothing that I'm like, oh man, I really don't want to do that right now. I just got to get through it. No, everything I do, I absolutely love to do. And that is a different experience of humanity, to be able to live a life like that, where every single moment you spend of your life is doing things that you want to do. Like, why do we want to be hanging out here and spending our days doing something that we don't want to do? Is that the purpose of life? No, life is meant to be fully lived and embraced and experienced to its fullest. And so if I can help one of you to move into a place where you're like, you know what, Kathleen, I don't dread anymore, it's gone, then I will know that my job is done. But hey, we're going to help a lot more people than just one. So self-image then for me got me a little bit tripped up, because it was like the image of me or my body image. So I stopped using that language. I actually sought out different words to try to find to describe it, because I felt it didn't really speak to what's really going on. And so self-concept, I love, because what we're actually talking about here are concepts or ideas that exist in the mind. Right? They're actual ideas that we then think from. So if I think that I'm amazing and incredible, and that's the idea that's in the mind, my mind is going to work very, very different. And the natural thoughts are going to be very, very different than if I have an idea that I'm terrible and I suck. Like if the idea is that I'm less than and I'm inferior, my thoughts are just going to be completely different. So we think from the ideas that are patterned and programmed in our mind. And so self-concept felt so good for me. And then one day I was thinking about this too, and I thought, okay, so what is it about identity then? How do we identify ourselves? How do we identify ourselves? And this is where I really started to, I journaled and I said, okay, if I had to describe my identity, how would I describe this, right? And I was doing this at a very transformational time in my life. So I had identified for so many years as a registered nurse. I identified as a mother. I identified as like a sister and a daughter. I identified as a wife, all these things. And so I was in this transitional period where I'm like, oh, I don't know how to identify myself. I've been identifying myself as the roles that I play in life, but that's not actually the truth of who I am. And so then I went a little bit deeper and I went, okay, so what is the identity that I hold about me? And I realized that identity was that I was never good enough, that I was always less than, that I was not the pretty one, that I was the ugly duckling, that I was just mediocre or moderately successful, that I was smart, but not necessarily like a genius. All of these different beliefs, that I was shy. I remember I used to believe that I was shy. That was part of my identity. I would say that. I would be like, oh yeah, no, I'm just shy. I don't want to go. I wouldn't want to do things because I believed I was shy. And so all of these ways of identifying yourself are the self-concepts that are in the mind. So there is the image of you and what you think about what you look like, but those are concepts, right? So the way in which you actually look today, it's not good or bad. It just is. And so we as a society decide what's good or bad. We as a society will say that this is attractive and this is unattractive and this is good and this is bad and whatever else, but it is not an absolute truth. It's a relative truth. How do we know? So an absolute truth means that something is true no matter where on earth you are. It is true. So an absolute truth would be that a newborn baby needs its mother. That's true. Yeah, you're right. But it's not an absolute truth that a plus size or curvy body is unattractive. That's a relative truth. I learned this when I went to Jamaica. When I left Canada and went to Jamaica. I know I'm telling you a funny joke, but it's true and it's real. In Jamaica, I was highly attractive. But here, not so much. So that's how we know when something, so when you're questioning truth, ask yourself, would this be true all over the world? Yes or no? Same as Ghana. I did date a man from Ghana once. Yes, in my early 20s when I went to university. Absolutely. So interesting, right? So let's consider that then. Is it a relative truth or is it an absolute truth? And then if it is a relative truth, that means you can change it. That means you can change it. It doesn't have to be your truth. Just a little way of like looking at these things about the way in which you look. But if we remember the truth of who we are, what did I say? We are a spiritual being having a human experience. So in our spiritual essence, in our God essence, we do not have gender. We do not have race. We do not have body size. We do not have hair color, right? All of those things exist in our bodies, but they do not exist in the spiritual essence and the truth of who we are. So we are all one and we are all the same. Right? Humanity creates separatism. Humanity and the collective consciousness creates separatism, where we have to separate because of our differences, and we have to come together because of those differences. But in essentiality, we are, the truth of who we are is that we are all one and we are all the same. And so I just remind myself of that. Anytime that I feel some kind of way about my body, I'm like, nope. We are all divinity, the God essence within, and we are all one and we are all connected. And how do we know that we are all connected? Because I'll think about you and then you'll call me. I'll have a feeling about you, like I need to call you one day and I call you and you're having a bad day, right? We are all connected. And now we're here using technology to connect our essence all over the world. How many different countries are we in? Let's put down what country you're in the chat, please. You can do it on the YouTube channel too. Put down what country you are in. I would love to see this. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to do an interview at 11 o'clock, so I'm just watching my time. I'm not on my phone. Okay, so self-image, self-concept, and identity are all ways in which to describe conditioned awareness, right? And so let's go back and think about what manifestation is, what creation is. So manifestation is to make something manifest. To make manifest. And everything that is manifested through light. Right? What do we mean by that? Through light? Through God, through source. Right? So manifestation occurs when spirit meets human programming and then human action. So when spirit meets the mind, which meets the body, we have manifestation. And so whatever we hold in our minds, we will make manifest. Whatever ideas we hold in our consciousness, we make manifest. So this is why many of us are manifesting our biggest fears, because they're held in our mind. We're thinking from them, we're feeling from them, we're speaking life into them. Your word is your wand, so you speak it, it shall be true. And so we make manifest that experience. An example of this, I don't think my dad is on there in Scotland at a wedding, but growing up, my dad always taught me to save 6 months of bills in your bank account, just in case you get laid off or you get fired or you lose your job, right? So plan for the day that you get laid off and lose your job. So what happened to my dad? He was 25 years with a company. What happened? Suddenly got laid off. Was that coincidence? It was manifestation. It's not what he wanted, but it's what he focused upon, what he feared most, what you fear, you revere, and that's what created. Unconsciously, he wasn't consciously aware of the manifestation, but it was absolutely a manifestation, right? So I want you to consider that then. So if we're thinking about manifestation and we're thinking about creating an experience of life in our lives, if you find that your life is Groundhog Day, mine used to be, every single day was the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, nothing would ever change. Well, of course it is. Because you have a set pattern and program and consciousness in your mind. You have a set idea of what you are and who you are. And that set idea, you just express yourself as it, you feel like it, you live from that idea, you live from that belief, and so you manifest from that belief, from that idea. So how did I end up here now as a woman that is the CEO and co-founder of an 8-figure corporation, an entrepreneur? How did I end up here building a $40 million business? I own several other companies. I'm also invest. I have books and a podcast and a YouTube channel. How did I end up here? And now I'm doing collaborative courses with some of the biggest people in the world. How did this happen? Because I changed the patterning and programming in my mind. I changed the idea of who I am. So who do I think I am is very different today than who I thought I was in 2019 and before that. So that's why this work is so important, because when it comes to manifestation, we manifest what we believe to be true. We manifest who we think we are. And so every single day that goes by that you keep thinking these lower energy thoughts, these judgmental thoughts, these wrong and small thoughts, you have this distorted idea of you that isn't even real, tomorrow you're creating from that. So tomorrow is not going to be what you want it to be. Tomorrow's going to be what it's always been. So I want to help you flip that switch. I want to help you see that we can actually today put a new idea in the mind and we can manifest a new experience for you for your life. This includes all things. This is not just the feeling of you. So I don't want you to just fall in love with yourself and keep living the exact same life as someone that loves themselves. That's amazing. That's great. Your life will be better loving yourself versus not. But I actually want to help you change the fabric of the 3D world. So what that means is I want to help you to have better relationships and friendships. I want to help you have a business and an impact on this world that is from the soul's perspective. To be soul-led, to be doing something that you love to do every single day. I want to help you have meaning and significance in your life. I want to help you make more money. Come on. It is not hard. But because we believe it's hard, we make it hard. Change the identity of who you are, and you will change your experience financially. We are all meant to be prosperous and abundant. We are all meant to experience all of the good that this world has to offer. We are not meant to be in a state of suffering. And so the only way out of suffering is through imagination. That's it. The only redeeming power that exists is imagination. And so this version of you that exists right now in your mind, you imagined yourself to be that. And that's how you became it. That's how you created it. So I want to help you see that you can imagine yourself to be something else, convince the subconscious mind that you are it, and once you believe you are it, you will manifest a completely different experience. I want you to trust that idea. And the thing is if you do have an open mind and you can see that and you can appreciate that and you want to do that, then it's going to make this work be easy for you. But if you are skeptical, right? If you are skeptical, and if you are someone that is fearful, and you are somebody that is doubting yourself and doubting this, I want you to just ask yourself, what if I believed? What if changing a few concepts about me and what I think about me could really, really change my experience? What if I just gave it a whirl? What do you have to lose? So if we sat here today and all of us that are on this Zoom, so there's 700 people here, there's probably a whole bunch of people that are on YouTube as well. So if we all sat here today and we all started to change our inner dialogue and we all started to see our light and we all started to think positive thoughts about ourselves and we started to love ourselves. And then we started to show up in the world with smiles on our faces, happy, grateful, loving ourselves with pride and a sense of accomplishment. Can you imagine what those 700 to 1,000 people would then be out doing out in the world every day and the impact that we would make? It would be pretty fantastic. But what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? So if you convince yourself you're incredible, you convince yourself you're amazing, you convince yourself that you're fearless and daring and disciplined and committed, and you convince yourself that you're going to have everything that you ever want in your life, what's the worst case scenario? Tell me. I would love to know what could go wrong with that situation. What could go wrong? Nothing. There is no worst case scenario to self-love. There isn't. So you can only go up. Life can only get better. So I say this because I want you to know that there's going to be these fears, worries, or doubts within you that are going to say, no, don't change, be comfortable. You've been this for so long. Oh, this is scary. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Just walk into the forest. Let's go. Like, we're all doing it together. Like, I read this card once about like manifestation is like walking into a forest. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's in there, but you're just going to go because you want to go for a nice walk in the forest. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of unless you decide there's something to be afraid of. So that's what I mean by like, just walk into the forest. Like, just go. Like, let's go. And so that's what I want you all to know is that like, there really isn't anything to fear. There really isn't anything to be afraid of. There's only things to gain. There's only positivity. And if you do that, let me tell you, you'll come back to me. You'll come back to me in a few months and you'll be like, wow, like my life is so different because I have self-love in it. Yeah, it's really, really special. So why bother change your identity? It'll change your whole life. It'll change your whole entire human experience. But why else do we want to change our identity? Because we cannot impact the world positively from a low-level identity. So when we think that we are just like everybody else, we can't make a difference, we're not worth anything, we are not adding joy, love, and light to the world. We're actually going in the opposite direction. So have you ever had somebody in your life that's like really negative? Look, Judy, I got my mug. I did it intentionally today. Yeah. Judy sent me this mug. It is one of my all-time favorite mugs. It says effing legend. I thought this was perfect for an identity masterclass. I did not think I was very legendary in 2019. Now, oh, I am so legendary. They're going to write books about me. Well, I'm going to write books about me. Right? Preach. Best mug ever. I swear you could do a whole business off this mug, Judy, like seriously. Anyway, so the reason I talk about like negative people, when you have somebody in your life that is really, really negative, it's draining. It is hard to be around. And then they influence other people to be negative. But you know what energy is even more influential? Positive energy. Positive energy is stronger than negative. So I enter into a room now and I'm like, I'm going to be the light. I'm going to walk into this room and I'm going to be the light in this room. I'm going to make it light and I'm going to make it bright and I'm going to help improve everybody's experience. But if you are that negative person, and these negative people don't know that they're negative, so one of you on here could be one of those. Would you be absolutely shocked if somebody was thinking of you right now when I said, you know, a negative person? It's just awareness, right? So think about that. Oh, would they say that about me? Oh, I don't know, right? But the negative people don't normally know they are. They're not like, oh yeah, I know I'm a negative Nelly. They don't usually say that. They would be quite shook to think that we think that they're so negative. But either way, it's important for you to have that self-awareness and that understanding of who you want to be and how you want to show up. and the impact that you want to make. But I also, and I'm sitting here as a mother of two. I have two beautiful daughters. They are 11 and 12. No, 11 and 10 and 12. Sorry, Mason's birthday's tomorrow. She's turning 13 tomorrow. So 10 and 12 right now, but we'll be 11 and 13 very, very soon. And I think about the woman that I was before, and the way I saw myself and thought about myself, and the way I spoke and the way I felt about me. And I think about how that would have impacted them. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful that I'm thinking differently now. I'm so grateful that I'm showing them a different example of what life is and what life can be like and what it means to love yourself. Like, I asked my girls the other day, I said, do you ever like look at yourself in the mirror and go like, gosh, you're so beautiful? And they both were like, yep. And I was like, that's it. Like, that was not me. Never did I ever. No, not until I was like 37, right? So it's important to do it for you, but it's important to do it for others. It's important to do it for the manifestation. But it's also important for collective consciousness as a whole, because if we are all starting to think from these loving perspectives, if we are all starting to dream big and we want to help people and we want to serve, and we're all in authenticity and in integrity, we're going to impact the world in such a beautiful way. The current collective consciousness is not at its best, but it is getting better. More and more people are waking up. Spirituality is becoming more and more the norm. Rise in consciousness is becoming more and more important. The personal growth and development industry is over 50 billion industry. So the world is waking up. So you can either be one of the ones that are coming for the rise, or you can be one of the ones that's going to stay where you are and stay in the old paradigm, because not everybody will rise. So we have a choice. But if you have signed up for this masterclass, whether you're watching it on the replay or you're live, you are someone that is being called to rise. And so it's your time to do it. And if you're not doing it, if you're not taking the steps, it's because there's something in your identity that doesn't believe you're worthy of it. But I want to tell every single one of you right now that you are all so worthy. You are so worthy of this work. You are worthy of your own self-love. You are worthy of your own attention. You are worthy of giving yourself time, giving yourself this focused attention and this time. It is selfish, yes, and selfless at the same time. Because when you turn it around and you become selfish and you put that focused attention on you, guess what? It becomes selfless because you're helping everybody else around you. Can your head get too big? Can you get an ego? Can you become conceited? No. I do not believe you can. I do not believe that you can love yourself too much. What we're actually describing when we're talking about people being conceited or a big head or a big ego, we're actually talking about lack of self-love, right? We're actually talking about, what's the word I want to use? We're making it about us. We're making things about us. We're so self-conscious and we lack self-love and worthiness so much that self-absorbed. Thank you, Tootie. Yes. When you are self-absorbed, right? And not in a positive way, right? When you are self-absorbed, it's usually in the other way. It's usually coming from, I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy. I used to be very self-conscious. So everywhere I would go, I was like worried about what I looked and worried about my body and worried about receiving judgment. Oh my gosh, Kathleen, you were so self-absorbed. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. I was overinflated sense of self, which actually came from lack of love, lack of self, right? So it wasn't in a good way. But when you love yourself fully and you become self-absorbed and you become conceited and you love yourself and you do it in a beautiful, loving way for the good of all. So this isn't, hi everyone, I love myself, please love me so that I can be validated. This isn't what this is about. This is about loving yourself so much that you don't need validation from others. You don't need other people to tell you you're amazing. You know you're amazing. And when you are At that place, it's so beautiful. Claudia, what child is conceited wild? Would we ever say that a child has a big head? No, we wouldn't. We would be so happy that they saw their worth. So let's do that with adults too. So when you meet somebody out there today and they love themselves, look at that and go, man, that is really inspiring. I love that. But you also might be sensing and feeling from people where they're trying to portray self-love, but you can actually feel what's actually programmed there. You can actually feel the lack of self-love when they're trying to express self-love. So just notice you might feel a little bit of incongruency with some people, but real, true self-love, it's authentic. And authenticity is felt. I'm going to talk about authenticity tomorrow. We're going to talk about self-love a little bit more tomorrow as well. So we're going to do an interview. Katie is going to interview Amy Lawson, which is a beautiful, beautiful member of our Diamond Academy family. She is a student in many things. I just met Amy actually in Millionaire Day in Toronto, which was really beautiful. So Katie on my team is going to interview her. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about that identity and self-concept and the expression of self and the vibration of self that comes from it. Amy, it is so good to see you.
You too.
Okay, I'm going to hop off for a second, but I'll come back.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Katie.
All right. Thank you, Kathleen. Everyone, I am so honored and excited to share Amy Lawson with you. Amy is a ray of sunshine. She is just one of those people you get around and you feel incredible. She's a very powerful woman. She's a financial advisor, a rapid transformational therapist. She has a really witty, fun, incredible podcast. It's called The Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life. Amy, I'm so happy you're here. So Amy started with us in October of 2024. She was a scholarship winner. And I would love for you to share your story with us, Amy. Tell us where you were before Diamond Academy.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's changed my life. Before Diamond Academy, I'll tell you, I knew I was enough and I knew I belonged in any room I wanted to be in. But I questioned whether I could actually have everything I wanted because I didn't know the way or how to get there, right? But I'd put out to the universe, thank you in advance for showing me the way and be so clear I can't screw it up. That's literally what I said. So right after that, I was washing dishes and I was listening to something on YouTube. And when it was over, Kathleen popped in. And I never heard of Kathleen, right? But my hands are in dishwater. I was like, what the heck? I'll listen. Oh my gosh. I was emotional within moments. And I'm going to cry now because I cried then. It's as though Kathleen saw me. It's as though she knew my life and she knew my struggles. And I immediately started listening to her on YouTube and her podcast, anything else I could find. And when she launched her next live event like this one, I signed up the instant I saw it. I mean, the instant. And then day one, she announced she's going to give a scholarship. And I told myself, if I get the scholarship, that's my sign. That's my sign. I need to do this. And so I started imagining Kathleen saying my name and feeling how excited I was going to be when she said my name. And she said my name.
You manifested.
Of course I cried. I was like, I called you forth, Kathleen. I called you forth.
You did. You were asking for a quantum leap. This is what
I was
you
asking
said.
was, I put a lot of time and effort into personal and spiritual growth, but I hit this wall that I just could not get over, this wall in my growth. And as I said, I told the universe, thank you in advance. Don't let me miss this. Don't let me screw this up. So yes.
All right. So let's talk about the wall, and let's talk about the wall that you had before. And then since you've done Millionaire, because you graduated, I know you extended your time.
I did.
But things have changed. Who you thought you were and who you know yourself to be now, you have quantum leaped. You have chosen yourself over and over and over. And this, Amy, this is what it takes. I'm so fired up and proud of you.
Let me say, I extended Millionaire not because I felt like I needed to do it, because I wanted to do it. I want to remain in this energy. The weekly calls with Kathleen are incredibly empowering. The embodiment sessions, and I think there's one like 6 days a week. Like you can just pick the one you want to go to. Again, so important. But one big difference about me now is I boldly go. I move in the direction I want to go with confidence and a strong feeling of self-worth. I ask for what I want boldly. You know, I talked for 3 years about launching my podcast before I took Millionaire. And 3 months in, I launched. I just launched it. I was like, forget this, stop talking and do. And I use this platform, I use the podcast as a platform to promote the power of RTT, because as Katie said, I am an RTT practitioner. And I want every person in the world to know that they're enough, that they were born enough, which means they've always been enough, and that they will die enough, which means they'll always be enough, right? Because I believe that feeling of not being enough is the crux of what ails humankind. I so believe that. And I'm here to make a difference in that.
Absolutely beautiful. So let's go back and just talk about, because I want to help people to see the shift. So where was the wall before? I know you said you broke through it because you started taking action, but what changed in your identity that made you actually go and take the action?
Oh, that I am so worthy of it. You know, I'll be honest, I'm in my 60s and I believed I was too old to make the global impact that I want to make. And through this work, oh my God, oh, I'm not too old, honey. I have wisdom. You can't get this from a bottle. This is wisdom right here, this right here.
Beautiful. So you have manifested money, you've manifested
Yes,
relationships, that's
yes.
been incredible, health, so many incredible experiences. You've been in person with Kathleen at Millionaire Day. You're doing CEO Day. You're doing Modern Mentor. You're
Yes.
doing all the things.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, sure. So I had my first $25,000 month in April. And I did it on April the 2nd. I texted Katie, said, oh my God, it's April the 2nd. I've already hit my 25,000. Awesome. You know, when Kathleen was talking about having someone negative in your life, that was my sister-in-law. And I had this very fragile peace between us for 15 years, right? And everything I tried to do in terms of kindness just backfired hugely every single time for 15 years. And at Christmas, I was like, that's it, I'm done. All I'm doing now is sending her love. And I literally close my eyes and I see her face and I send her love. And the day after I decided to do that, I get this really nice text from her. And I actually thought, did someone have her phone? This cannot be her, but it was her. And she since, again, reached out, asked me how to make macaroni and cheese, which sounds like no big deal. But she was always the kind of to tell me how I should make my own macaroni and cheese. That's the kind of person, that's the kind of relationship we had. Not anymore. That's completely different. Also, I've raised my prices 24%. Just, I went to Toronto, came back from Toronto, said, oh, I'm worth more than that just to raise it. I'm going to raise it again because I am worth it. I'm telling you, I can confidently tell you that the only person better at RTT is Marissa Peer. And Marissa Peer is the therapist in the UK who developed RTT and who trained me. So I bring that confidence and that sense of self-worth into my practice, into my courses. So, yes.
I hope everyone can feel this, because the way that you talk about yourself on the inside, it all emanates out from you. This is how we create our life. This is exactly what Kathleen's talking about. So I just want to hear from you. Like, if there's anybody that's watching that thinks, oh my gosh, I love Kathleen. We have people that have been here for years and years and years just watching. You didn't do that. You actually, you called, you asked for a sign. You got a sign very quickly. You didn't ask for a sign of your sign. Some people do that. I need another sign. I need a different resource of money. No, God, I want it to come in this way. You didn't do that. You said, yes, I'm all in. So what do you think that it takes for someone to leap, to change their life in all areas?
I would say to you, if you're on this event, you are more powerful than you can even imagine. You are more powerful than you're even able to imagine at this point right here. So take that first step. Get in the lane, right? Get in the lane. The way will be revealed to you. And you never know. You may find your tribe. I have found my tribe. I'm a lifer. You know, I'm going to find some way to be involved in this for the rest of my days. So take the step. Trust. If any of you guys like Indiana Jones movies, remember the first one? He was at that precipice and the natives are chasing him and there's nothing there. And he just says, take the step and the bridge will appear. Take the step. The bridge will appear.
Mm-hmm. Was it easy for you to invest in yourself over and over and over again?
No,
Okay,
not
so
at
this
all.
is important.
Not at
Let's
all.
talk through this.
Oh yeah, this is huge for me because, as an investment advisor, I had made millions of dollars for my clients, but I never manifested it for myself. I mean, I'm not poor. Don't think I'm poor. I live in an incredible neighborhood. I drive a luxury car. The country club's right there. But I kept hitting this limit. I hit what I thought I was worth, right? And so
Mm,
to spend this money made me so nervous. Katie can tell you, I was so nervous. And I thought, no, just do it. Just do it. And I just did it. And as I said, I've had millionaire. I'm a spiritual leader now. And I tell you, I am a spiritual leader. I lead from spirit, have for a long time. And this is exactly what I needed to hear. And now I'm in modern mentor. And I'm new in it, but I will tell you what I like already. It's divided into developing our masculine and our feminine because we need them both. And I've taken courses in the past that just focused on the masculine. And I left every one of them feeling like I'd been battered. Grind,
mm.
grind, 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 grind. And what I love about this is the balance. Kathleen and her team see that balance between the feminine and the masculine, and we need to develop them both so they can work together to produce what we want.
I'm so proud of you. I know for me, when I was making the decision 4 years ago, the investment in me was a big change. And so I often help people to get through that. I know we talked about credit, and you had to change your mind. You had to change your mindset about circulating money. I want everyone here to know that the money that Amy has invested has already come back over
Yes.
and over and over.
It has, because I grew up poor, scarcity mentality. Although, as I said, I'm not poor, but I still had this scarce, like I gotta hold on to it. I can't spend that right now, and I've changed that completely. I mean, I have these moments when that old stuff comes back, and I say, "Oh no, 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 no! I am abundance. Right? I'm abundance." I feel
Mm,
like I've embodied that, the confidence and self worth, and abundance and prosperity and health and love and all these things. Yeah.
you have. This all comes from identity. I see Kathleen's unmuted. I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to add anything.
Yeah, I would love to. Man, I'm on fire over here, Amy. Like, I'm listening. I'm like, she gets it.
Get it.
Yeah, you get it. Like what I'm trying to tell you guys. So when we think about creation and we think about the law of attraction, right? Like the law of attraction determines, it tells us that the way in which you are vibrating creates a magnet. And based on that magnet is what you draw to you. So when Amy stepped into her grandest version of herself and started to really believe it, and she started to feel different. We can feel her, every single one of you. You can hear the words that are coming off of Amy as she's talking, but you can actually feel her. And so what's happening now is that the law of vibration is drawing to Amy things that match her vibration of who she believes she is. I'm going to be talking about that after this interview is over, but you can actually feel this beautiful example. And I think it's also a beautiful example too, Amy, that, age doesn't mean anything. It has nothing to do with anything. And so many people think that they're too old to transform or to make a change or to awaken or to enlighten or even to start a new business. And for you to sit up here and be so vulnerable and honest and to say, no, like it used to be a problem because I made it a problem in my mind, but it's not anymore. Yeah. Right. So, Amy, this has been so inspiring. You know the impact this is going to make on people, and so we thank you so much. And I'm glad you're a lifer. I could go with that Amy energy along for this ride. She's going to be sitting right next to me. I can feel it. So
Oh yeah, girl, I'm there.
yeah, I know. I'm so grateful for you and for sharing so vulnerably, and it's been so fun to watch. So if you're watching this, you can easily do what Amy has done and you can manifest yourself on this live event. It's just a decision. And people do it all the time. They always tell me, I'm going to be on the live event sharing. And I say, okay, here we go. And then we end up interviewing them very soon. So Amy, thank you. Phenomenal,
Thank you.
inspiring. Love it, love it, love it. Katie, looking phenomenal as well. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, Amy Lawson. That was so beautiful. I was sitting here going like, Oh my gosh. I love sharing stories of the embodiment of this work as examples and social proof for you all. So you can see that it's not just me, that there is a lot of people that are growing, changing, ascending. We actually have a whole slew. We've been doing these interviews for years. So if there's any interviews you want to hear, you ask the team, and we're happy to provide you with some other social proof as well, or you can go on the YouTube channel and watch them as well. They're all there. So 2 things I want to talk about before we end for the day today. So tomorrow, what I really, really want to do is help you formulate the grandest version of you in your mind. So tomorrow, I want to help you to see, like, what are the best beliefs for me to have? And we're going to come together and we're going to develop this as a collective. So that's what tomorrow's focus is. But there's 2 things that I want to make sure that we still understand when it comes to self-concept and identity. And Amy showed us one. It's 11:11 right now. Amy showed us one just right now. So I'll talk about that, but that was vibration. But the first thing that I want to talk about is when we think about the identity that is programmed in our mind, it's the ideas of who we think we are. We think from those ideas, we speak from those ideas, and we live our lives according to those ideas. I like to call that expression. So to express yourself means to think, to feel, to speak, to act. It's expression, to express, right? So when we express ourselves, self-expression, right? We are expressing based on who we think we are. And it makes a significant difference. And you will notice that you will automatically and naturally express. So based on the program and the pattern in the subconscious mind, you will just do things automatically based on those beliefs, or you won't do things based off of those beliefs. So when I believed that I was a problem that needed fixing, when I believed that I was unhealthy, so I believed I was an unhealthy woman because I was in a plus size body, I believed I was unhealthy. So when I believed I was unhealthy, how did I express myself? Every day. What did I do? Did I go to the gym every day? Did I eat healthy, nutritious food? Did I take my supplements? Did I drink a lot of water? Did I get a really good night's sleep every single night? No. I would eat sweets, carbs. I would overeat. I would Netflix. I would sit on my butt. I would procrastinate. I would not exercise. I actually believed I hated exercise. See how I said I used to believe that I hated exercise? It's just a belief. You can change any belief. So now I've convinced myself that I love exercise. But I did not convince myself that I love exercise because I'm a problem needing fixing. I moved into self-love and I thought, well, if I really, really loved myself and I really, really loved my body, what would it mean to take care of her? I'd probably go to the gym. I'd probably walk every day. I'd probably stretch, do some weights. I would take care of this vessel. And so I realized I had a belief that I hated going to the gym. And so I want to believe I'm healthy. I want to believe I love myself. I want to believe that I take care of my body, but I believe I hate going to the gym. Doesn't work. So I changed the belief. I love the gym. And at first it didn't sound right. I'd be in the gym going, oh God, this place is so masculine. But over time and eventually, nope, I love it here. I love the gym. Now I get excited. If I go to a gym, especially a Four Seasons gym at a hotel, I am like, oh, look at this gym, Eric. I take a video. Eric's my personal trainer. So this is why it's so important to change the underlying belief, and it changes the behavior. So if I believe I hate going to the gym, I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to dread it. I'm not going to desire to go there, right? So now I sit there and I'm like, oh, what do I want to do today? I'd love to go to the gym today for fun. Like that is such a foreign concept to me because I grew up thinking that the gym was punishment. I grew up thinking that the gym was what I had to do because I was bad and wrong and not taking care of myself. And so I had to go sweat it out. I had to go pay my dues to fix it, to fix me, not to go to the gym for fun because I like to. Totally different energy. So we express naturally and automatically based on who we think we are. So imagine me then, a registered nurse, didn't think she was worthy, didn't think she was good enough, walking out in this world every single day. How do you think I showed up in my life? Do you think I took bold, daring risks, made big decisions? No. Do you think I went around telling everybody, guess what, guys? I'm going to change the world? Nope, absolutely not. So I would naturally express. I was also somebody that would procrastinate. I'd put things off and put things off and put things off and put things off. What does that mean? Why do we put things off? Just because you believe you're a procrastinator? For me, I put them off because I didn't think that they were going to be good anyway. So why bother? Nobody cares. I also used to have these fears that I would do whatever I needed to do and it wouldn't be good enough, and then people would judge me. So if I just didn't do it, you couldn't tell me it was bad and wrong. Right? So I procrastinated. So there's all of these reasons, there's these underlying identities and self-concepts within you that are having you naturally express yourself. So we just heard Amy say a lot of things about who she thinks she is now. She showed up here on this live, very, very vulnerable, and told you the identity and self-concept of who Amy is. So do you think that the way in which Amy expresses herself is probably pretty bright, pretty loud, pretty effortless, pretty daring, pretty bold, makes big decisions, is going after it, is showing up in the world? Oh yeah, you can feel it. You can feel it. So do you think it's a coincidence that she had her highest month in business? No, because when you're a business owner and you're an entrepreneur and you want to make a difference in the world, the universe will simply reflect back to you what you're putting out. So if you're putting out self-expression, you're showing the truth of who you are self-expressing fully, you're being authentic, you're being genuine, you're providing service, content, love, support, you're showing up loudly and proudly and confidently, the universe just says, yes. Oh yeah, that Amy, she's going for it. We're going to give it to her. But then the other person, or probably past version of Amy, past version of me, that's self-suppressed, right? So we suppress ourselves because we don't think we're good enough. We're worried about what other people think. We're worried that we're not going to be successful. We're worried if we fear judgment. So we suppress. So when we suppress ourselves, the universe just says yes. So don't look at me. Don't give me attention. Don't go there. No. The universe says, oh, okay. No, we're not going over there. They're not open. They're not ready. They don't want for anything. So we're going to keep them where they're at. It's very, very powerful to understand that. And the other thing is too, is I don't believe in forcing behavior. I don't like it. So the old version of me, who would go on a diet and lose weight, I've lost 100 pounds a couple times in my life. And the other times that I've released the weight before, it was through willpower and motivation. Didn't want to do it, forced myself to do it. I will never teach you to do that. Never, ever will I ever teach you to force yourself to do something that you do not want to do. What I will do is I will teach you to reprogram your mind to want to do it. And then you can take effortless, automatic, and natural action. So we're going to do this with love. We're going to do this in a way that feels really, really good, that feels really, really light. No judgment, no punishment, no force, only love, only love. And so when you reprogram your subconscious mind from a loving perspective, you ask the question, what is the best thing for me to believe about me today? And from that belief, what would my natural behavior be? What would my natural words be coming out of my mouth? What would the natural thoughts be from that place? Right? My good friend Lane, he talked about this self-expression versus suppression. He gave me such a beautiful example. he was talking about how he was driving in his car one day and a song came on. It was one of his favorite songs and he was singing at the top of his lungs and he was dancing and he was just being himself. He was loving life. He was so happy, just showing up, fully expressing himself in his car. But then he noticed something. When he pulled up to a stoplight, and there was other cars around him, he stopped singing and he stopped dancing. Why? He was afraid of judgment. He was afraid of what other people were going to think. So he stopped. But you know what's so unfortunate about that? Is if he had continued dancing and singing at that light, the car next to him would have seen that and would have smiled. It would have made their day. It would have been like, oh my God, that guy's living his best life. I want to be like that. And we would teach each other to self-express more. So where in your life are you doing that? Where in your life are you concerned about what people think, about you being observed? And where are you getting in your head about it and keeping yourself from expressing? You've got to let that go. You've got to let that go. So for me, if I'm going to be in my head before a class like this, and I'm going to be thinking about what all of you are thinking about me, and what I say, and if it's going to be good enough, and if it's going to be worthy enough for you all. Am I going to hit the needle? Am I going to show up in my best self? Oh gosh, what's the judgment going to be like? I'm not going to let God in. So for me, when I come on these live events, I say to myself, Kathleen, live in your authenticity today. Show up in your integrity today. Show up as the truth of who you are today. Be in spirit, trust, and know that the right things are going to come. The right information is going to come through. The right examples are going to show up for you. And know that allowing yourself to fully self-express in your authenticity, it lets God in. And so I don't worry anymore about what people think of me. What I actually care about is what you think of you, not what you think of me. I even had this thought one day. I used to care so much about other people's thoughts, like what other people would think of me. And I had this thought one day. I was like, why do I care what, and sometimes it's people I don't even know. Why do I care what someone else thinks in their head about me? What does it matter? What does it mean to me? Why is that important? You know why it's important? Because you were taught it was, and you believed it. And so you simply are living from a belief that opinions from other people are important and matter and determine something about you. My dad, he used to say things like, don't put your arm up on the table like this at the dinner table. What? Who cares? It's just about other people are going to think of you of having your arm up on the table like this. Let's let it go. Or the way in which you dress when you go outside, the way in which your hair is done, the color of clothing you wear in what season. Nobody cares. But we get all caught up in it because we think that everybody cares. But what's actually going on is so many people are just thinking about themselves anyways. Are you going out there every single day and going, oh, you suck, you suck, you suck, you're terrible, you're awful, oh, your pants are so ugly, oh, this, and the other thing? Is that what's going on in your head all the time? No. You're concerned with your own mind. You're in the grocery store doing your grocery shopping. So, when I have a psychology degree, and one of the concepts that I learned was the invisible audience. That so many of us believe that there is this invisible audience paying attention to us and judging us. It's not true. It's just your egoic mind telling you. I don't even think we need to even say let them. No, it's not even real. Don't even make it real. Saying let them just makes it real. It means they are judging you, just let them judge you. No, the judgment doesn't even exist. It's not even real. It's not even true. Don't even let it be your experience. Don't even let it be real. That's my truth about this. So other people's opinions, come on guys, we really have to let it go. But one thing I want to tell you, everything that Amy said about herself today, did you all believe it? Did you all buy it? Oh yeah, right? Hook, line, and sinker. You fell for every empowered word that she said about herself. Every single one of you believes everything that Amy believes about herself. What does that tell you about creation, and what does that tell you about life? The world literally believes whatever you believe. You guys will literally say to me exactly what I've written out about myself. I will literally write things out like I am this and I am that and I am this and I am that, and I'll believe it, and then I'll start living from it, and I don't even say it out loud. And you guys will come back to me and you'll say to me exactly what I wrote down. That is creation. That is what this is all about. So the world believes you. So if you believe you are unworthy, if you believe you are less than, if you believe you are not good enough, if you believe you are flawed, if you believe you are shy, the world believes you. It's just going to say, yeah, that's how you are. Let's not do that. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's believe in our worthiness, our value, right? And then the rest of the world will simply believe what you believe. I give myself this name, KCB. It's an identity. I just added a B to KC, Kathleen Cameron Billionaire. And I use the billionaire word because it's an identification. It's a category, right? So when I see the word billionaire, it makes me think outside of the way I identify now. Like now I identify as like a multi-millionaire in the physical 3D observed world, but I wanted to identify as a billionaire at the time. So I created KCB, which I identify now as KCB, absolutely in every way. But you guys start giving it back to me. You start calling me a KCB. You start sending me screenshots of things that say KC, and you put the little B in there and say, we got to fix it. You guys are just confirming to me what I'm saying to myself. And so will the world believe you? Will they follow suit? Yeah. And this is how you make a difference. This is how you impact others. This is how the dreamers change the world. So self-expression, huge, important. Oh my gosh, I want you guys to pay attention tonight to how you express. Think about it, consider it. What are the ways in which I show up? Naturally, easily, and effortlessly. And you'll notice that there's patterns and programs and identity buried beneath that are influencing it. But the other thing I want to make sure that we understand is that the idea and the concept of who we are, and this is more important than the actual idea itself, is that the concept of you has a feeling. It's the emotional conception of self. Why do we care about feeling? Feeling is the word that we give to describe vibration. So emotion, energy in motion, emotion, that's what we describe vibration. We live in a vibration world. Everything is made up of vibration. We actually speak vibrationally more than we communicate with words and body language. You can feel people. Like you can absolutely feel people and the vibration with which that they are in, right? So imagine all of these ideas, these understandings, these concepts that you hold about you. It is emitting a pulse, a feeling out into the world, the feeling of you. So if I were to ask Amy today how she feels about herself, what does it feel like to be you, Amy? What would she say? We could feel it. Pretty damn powerful, pretty inspiring, pretty proud of herself. She probably feels pretty accomplished, pretty happy, a lot of pride, right? That's the feeling of her. But that's not the feeling that she was in when she first found us, was it? No. Right? So the feeling of you matters. It makes a difference. So the ideas that are in the subconscious mind, the patterning and the programming, they have a corresponding vibration. And that corresponding vibration draws to you. So from the feeling of you, you're behaving a certain way. You're expressing a certain way. And then you're also attracting based on that feeling. So it's dual forces. You're moving towards or not moving towards, and you're pulling towards you as well. This is how you quantum leap your life. is understanding that the feeling of you is the most important feeling you will ever have. So when you feel your best, the grandest version of you, when you feel your best, you are emitting an energy out into the world, a pulse out into the world, a feeling out into the world. Your toroidal field literally expands out further and further and further. It becomes brighter and brighter and more and more and more and more magnetic. And the more magnetic you are, what happens? The more magnetic you are, the more influential you're going to be. The more people are going to want to follow you, learn from you. The more people are going to want your product, your services. More people are going to want to be in your energy. People are going to want to be your friend. Like, have you had people be like, I just want to be your friend? What are they saying? They love being in your energy. They love what it feels like to be in your energy, right? So the feeling of you is so important. So one of the things that you can do tonight is journal. What does it feel like to be me? And be honest. I don't want you to tell me what you hope it feels like. You actually have to journal and ask yourself, like, what does it actually feel like to be me? I, for years and years and years, wished I was someone else. I didn't like being me. Being me sucked. I wish I looked like her. I wish I had her personality. I wish I had her body. I wish I had her drive. I wish I had her brain. She's really smart. Right? So that feeling of me, it had a lot of shame. It had a lot of guilt. Yeah, what does it feel like to be you currently, right now, in this moment? Right? I love being me so much, I don't want to be anybody else. No way. I have curated this experience inside myself that is so joyful, so loving, so peaceful, so clear that I would not want to replace it with anything else. Right? That's where I want you all to get to see, to truly, truly see that being you should be honored to be you, grateful to be you. I don't take myself for granted anymore. I almost lost my life in 2022, 3 years ago. I had emergency lung surgery. I was in the ICU. I had a chest tube. It was a very, very humbling situation. And in that moment, when you're at the brink of no longer being yourself anymore and continuing on in this iteration, I was like, oh my gosh, like I have taken everything for granted. Every breath, taken it for granted. Every relationship, taken it for granted. My business, took it for granted. My mind and peace, took it for granted. So after that, I went down to rock bottom and I came back up. I said, that's it. I am going to live in absolute gratitude. I am not taking anything for granted ever again, any moment for granted again. So everything in my life has meaning. Everything in my life I'm passionate about. Everything in my life I love. So if you don't want to get all super, super excited about something, that's fine. You don't have to, but I'm going to. I'm going to love everything. I'm going to love everyone, and I'm going to live my life out loud and not take anything for granted because I know better now. I know better now. You planted new seeds. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the feeling of you is important, and it's a vibration, and it's a law of attraction. I had this realization 2 years ago. I used to believe that the law of vibration and the law of attraction, these universal laws, were more based in science and physics. So I would look at the law of vibration and say, okay, the law of vibration says that everything is vibrating. It's always in motion. Everything is a form of energy. Everything is a form of vibration. That's the law of vibration. Science, very scientific, okay? Physics. So then the law of attraction would say that like energy would attract like energy. So we are drawn to people that are more like us. We are drawn to situations that are more like us. Makes sense. So you attract what you are. And we can actually look at like atoms and energy, and we can measure them, and we can say, yeah, positive ended atoms attached to positive ended atoms. Okay, makes sense. But then I started to have this awareness. Okay, so if we are living in a universe that was divinely created, okay, so we're living in a universe that is divinely created. So the source of all, the all of everything that created us, also created the law of attraction, created the law of vibration, created a world that speaks vibrationally, that attracts vibrationally. So then I'm like, oh, so the law of vibration and the law of attraction are God's tools that we were given. So divinity, God, universe, source has said to us, this is one of the ways with which you are going to create while you are here. This is one of the ways that you're going to build your dream life. This is one of the ways that you're going to help humanity adapt and grow. This is one of the ways that you're going to invent. This is one of the ways that you're going to advance the collective through vibration. But we forgot how to use it. And so now many people are learning how to use it again, learning to understand that we control our lives based on the vibration that we hold primarily every single day. Movies like The Secret talked about positive energy, and positive energy attracts positive energy. And so we should think positive thoughts and you will have positive things come into your life. Okay, we missed a whole section about identity and self-concept. It's not just about positive thoughts. Because you could be sitting here going, I love my life and I love the world and la 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 la, and thinking positive and pretending to be happy. But deep down within you, you think you're garbage. And so the energy that's emitting is not positivity, it's negativity. The sponsoring thought, the sponsoring feeling, the sponsoring idea is that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough, that you're just like everybody else, that you're inferior, then you're less than. And there's a feeling in that. So it's not just about being positive versus being negative. It's actually about who you think you are and elevating the feeling of who you think you are to a level where other people start to be attracted to you based on the feeling of who you think you are. Right? So the law of attraction is a tool, one of our greatest tools that God has given us to create with. And when you start to take ownership of that in a really, really beautiful way, you start to really, really realize that life changes according to that. But I don't want you to think that mood manifests. That is a common misconception in the manifestation world. If mood manifested, then all happy people would be wealthy people. Is that true? Are all wealthy people happy people? And if money made people happy, then everybody that had money would then be happy, wouldn't they? But that's not true. So what's actually going on there is identity manifests, not mood. So many people ask me, well, what about when you're grieving the loss of someone important in your life? Are you not going to be able to manifest because you're in a negative vibration? You're sad? Of course not, because identity manifests. So what I would say is, when I was grieving the loss of my grandmother, I got a beautiful opportunity to sit with her for 2 days as she was transitioning. And it was a very, very sad time. It was very, very heavy emotions, especially my mom and her sisters were really, really going through it. And so I felt sadness. I felt that, that feeling of heaviness, but I remained in my empowered identity. So I remained an empowered woman, a strong woman, a confident woman, right? Who was having a sad moment or a sad day, but I remained in the empowered identity, right? But now if you're someone that is grieving the loss of someone in your life and you let your identity be affected and you let yourself take on the identity of sadness and grief, you then will start to identify as a sad woman or a sad man. and not having a sad day or a sad moment, right? So the overall feeling of you can remain empowered, can remain strong, can remain firm and elevated, even when you're pissed off, when you're frustrated, when you're sad, when you're angry, when you have to discipline your children because they're not listening for the thousandth time, right? So this is where I want us to not be worried about emotions, not be worried about feeling things, because then they might manifest. Oh no, that's not what this is about. This isn't about just always switching your thoughts to the good ones every single time, or else you're going to manifest a bad experience. This is about going in and really, really allowing yourself to elevate your consciousness, your ideas of you, your patterning and your programming, and becoming a really, really resilient person, a really, really confident person, so that no matter what happens in your life, you're not taken off course. Like, you can't be taken down. You can ride the waves of life from a real empowered identity instead of being taken out by the waves every time a wave hits, right? What changes the identity after years of not having an empowered identity, or how does one get this overall feeling of empowerment? So if we think about what empowered means, to be in your power, it means to feel your power, to embody the feeling of power, right? And so what's the opposite of power? To not have power means you're out of control, you're weak, right? These are just beliefs. So you feel out of control, you feel weak, you feel like you can't influence anything. So you're going to feel small, helpless. Beautiful, Amy, great word, right? And so when you feel that way, what is your life going to be like? You're going to be seeking from other people. You're going to want validation. You're going to need support. You're going to feel very alone, lonely. There's nothing you can do. So when you don't feel empowered, are you going to make a decision to come onto a training like this and learn about becoming empowered and change your life? No. So while you may think that you're disempowered, I would disagree. If you are on this training, you're in your power. You understand you have control. You realize that you can make a difference. See, I just gave you your power back, just like that, in a second. I gave you a new belief. So what you believe is true will always be your truth. Is it possible for you to step into your power more? Yes, for all of us. Every single one of us. So to feel disempowered and to have an identity of limit, to be limited in your identity, most of us have that. Because collective consciousness has taught us a lot, all of us the same things. So people on this call are just going to be at different levels of releasing the limitations, the wrong and small thoughts. So if you are somebody that is newer on this call and you're just being introduced to these ideas, amazing. In 6 months, you can be like Amy. Like, absolutely. Like, so no judgment, compassion and grace, love yourself through it, and then just say to yourself, you know what? I'd actually like to think different. I would love that for myself. I would love to live a different life, right? So it all starts with that, right? The past 3 days were quite painful for me, but I decided to be on this live no matter what. That's grace in her power. That's grace that has control, right? So this is how you start to step into your power, to start to take back, to actually say no. Like, who said that? Is that real and true? And do I have to believe this about myself going forward? Yes or no? It's a self-awareness. And self-awareness doesn't always feel good, I'll be honest with you, right? So to become self-aware and to see the things that are hiding in the shadows, it might be uncomfortable for you. You might realize, ooh, I've been pretty nasty to myself. Wow, that belief is not good. But in that feeling, in that awareness comes the resolution. In that awareness comes the redemption. So we must feel in order to heal. We must face what's in the mirror in order to change it. So sometimes I've seen people that will literally sit here and they will write out a whole new identity. a self-concept. Okay, what's the best belief for me to have about myself? It's all this and this and this. And they write out this incredible list of things, a real empowered version of themselves, their grandest self. Here we go. And then I'll go, okay, so why'd you put that there on the list? And they're like, I know it sounded good. I'm like, no. What do you currently believe? Oh, I don't know. Okay, well, what do you currently believe about this one? Why'd you put that there? Oh, well, I don't know. No. I want you guys to realize and become self-aware of what you currently believe, and then to replace it and overwrite it with a new belief. So we're not just planting new ones. We're literally overwriting the old ones and getting rid of them. So you got to become aware of it. And like, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's discomfort in the name of freedom, to be quite honest. Yes, I'm not that I don't know person anymore. What does it mean if you don't know something? To not know it. To have a lack of awareness. To have a lack of awareness of something. To say, I don't know. It's your ego. Right? So the ego wants to say, I don't know, but you do know. So you can just bypass the ego. So if I did know, what would I know? And then if I had to guess that I knew, what would I guess? That's how you get it out. So you just got to keep asking yourself. That's why don't just sit down and answer questions one time. You got to be with yourself. You got to ask the questions. You got to sit in the awareness. You really got to realize, well, what does that mean? And then what I do is I pay attention to my reactions to life, because the reactions to life will tell you what's patterned and programmed, right? So if I trigger you, what does that mean? My love and my light makes you mad. What does that mean? Does that mean that you're fully healed, fully aware, and you're the best of yourself, the grandest version of you? No, it means that there's something within you. Our reactions to life are activations, the things that activate us. I love the word activate, because activate's not good or bad. Activate could be anger, but activation could also just be like, ooh, I'm feeling something there, right? So when somebody else is activating you outside of you, you got to ask yourself, ooh, why am I triggered? Why am I activated? Why am I reacting like that? And it's an awareness. That's it. I'm like, oh, what a beautiful awareness. So, you know, when you say you have breakthroughs or you have aha moments, what are we talking about? We're talking about awareness, right? And the breakthroughs and the awarenesses don't come in the moments with the most joy. They don't come when everything's going well. They don't come when life is delivering you all your beautiful miracles and treasures, right? They actually occur in the troughs. So we live, the law of rhythm says that we live in ups and downs and we live in waves, right? So the areas for growth will actually show up when you're in a down wave. When things appear to be like disheveled, falling apart, confusing, that's where the awarenesses come. Right? When everything's going great, hunky-dory, you're being validated from the outside world. But when it's not, that's where the truth comes out about who you are. It's difficult but necessary. Yes, Grace. Yes. I love this so much. So the vibration or the feeling of you, the emotional conception of who you are, it really, really matters. So as we're creating this identity, this elevated version, the grandest version, the best of yourself, I want you to then, after you've kind of written it all out and you've decided this is who I want to be, I want you to then be like, okay, well, what does it feel like? And you'll notice the differences. The old me used to feel like this, the new me feels like this. When we say, I feel like $1 million, what are we talking about? Money? We feel like physical money? No. Are we feeling like, oh, we feel like what it would feel like to have $1 million? Yeah, right? What we would anticipate or expect that it would feel like to have $1 million. And then the third tool that God has given us, which is so beautiful, is the imagination. So many of you are going to ask me, how do I reprogram my identity to be something I've never been before? How can I experience and feel like a millionaire when I've never had $1 million? This is a question I get all the time. What is the underlying belief system in that question? When somebody asks me that question, how do I feel like something I've never been? What's the underlying belief that they hold when asking that question? That you have to experience something to be it. They've got it twisted. See it to believe it, right? We've been taught this, so no judgment, right? So we've been taught that nothing is true or real until we observe it. And when we observe it, it becomes true and real. That is one of the truths that I have completely dismissed. To observe something simply means that I've believed it, and now I'm observing what I've believed. That's it. So now I know that I first observe it in the mind, and then I observe it in the 3D world. So I believe it, and then I will see it. I cannot tell you how many times this happens, day after day after day. I believe it, and then I see it. I believe it, and then I see it. So how do you be something that you've never experienced before? In your imagination. In your imagination. So your imagination is actually your connection to the divine. Your imagination is the portal to all of creation. Every single thing in our entire physical 3D observed world began in someone's imagination first. So your new identity and self-concept, where is the originating thought? In the imagination. Where were we planting these ideas? In the imagination. Who is the divine? God, source, creator, universe. Whatever words you want to use. It's the all of everything. The all of everything. It's in everything, around everything, is everything, knows everything, is everyone, everywhere, everything, everything. Yeah. So I like to use divinity, divine, God, source, whatever you want. So what's so beautiful about that then with the imagination is if creation begins in the imagination and it moves into the physical form by law, it's universal law, right? God gave us this tool. The source of all gave us this ability, gave us the ability to dream things into existence, not just to dream things, okay? So the imagination is not just for dreaming. It's to dream and then bring the dream into the physical 3D world. That's creation. And every single time you dream about something, you're creating it. You're putting focused attention, you're putting imaginative thought towards it. So I'm imaginating all the time. I'm imagining all the time, not imaginating. I don't think that's a word. We can create it though. We can do everything we want, right? So we're taking imagined things and making them into observed things. Yes, thoughts into things, right? So Bob used to say, thoughts into things all the time. So the process of life is to imagine things into reality, into existence. Our children, they used to play in their imagination all the time, constantly. I used to play bank. We used to play bank and pretend to be bank tellers. And we used to have like Monopoly money and we would fill out little forms and all this kind of stuff. Cool, but I mean, it's no coincidence that my first real job after graduating university was at a bank, RBC Bank. Shocker there. And now when I started imagining being an entrepreneur and traveling the world and making millions of dollars, that's what I'm experiencing now. So, I mean, you do get to choose what you dream about and what you experience, right? So, James Allen in As a Man Thinketh says that dreamers are the saviors of the world. What does he mean by that? The dreamers are the saviors of the world. So those people that are dreaming the biggest are the ones that are saving the world because they're creating. But he's not talking about the ones that are dreaming big and never acting upon their dreams. That's not what he's talking about. So people that are daydreaming and never moving in the dream, they're not saving the world. Do we understand the difference between simply dreaming about something and taking action upon a dream? To take action upon a dream means to actually build it in the physical 3D world. So the Wright brothers that invented the airplane, the ability to fly the airplane was always here. It always existed. They actually didn't really do anything. They became aware of something. They revealed the pathway. They became aware of how to fly in an airplane. But they weren't just dreaming about flying in an airplane, dreaming of flying in an airplane and never doing anything about it. They started to build it and practice it. And then I can imagine that first time they decided to they had one and they were ready to go and they were going to lift off into the air. Can you imagine that feeling of, okay, this is pretty dangerous right now. We're going to go in flight. We could crash and not live, to actually fly in the air. So I'm asking you guys to do something right now, far less risky. I'm not asking you to go build an airplane and trust your skills and practice flying for the first time and be the first one to fly in the air in the first time. I'm asking you to believe in yourself. I'm asking you to choose you. I'm asking you to think new thoughts, to dream new dreams. And I'm asking you to take action on a new idea of yourself that you could impact the world positively. That's what I'm asking you to do. See how I just made it feel real easy? Because I compared it to something real scary. This is not scary. Your old patterning and programming is telling you that it is, but it's actually not. It's really easy, Sela. Yep, it's really easy. So tomorrow, I want to help each and every one of you to create a really, really beautiful, empowered new identity, right? But the first thing that I would really love for you to do tonight is to really journal about who you think you are. And self-honesty is going to be the biggest thing here. If you're not willing to look in the mirror, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, if you're not willing to be honest, there's not going to be significant change. So I want you to be really, really honest. Something came up last night in dinner that I hadn't even considered. One of my friends was actually talking about how she's afraid to be honest in her journaling because someone might find the journal. And I had never thought about that. Because I just fill out journals. I've never thought anybody would ever go read my journal, but that was something she worried about. So if that is something, I want you to journal it all out tonight and hide it somewhere so you feel safe, or just rip it up or burn it. But I want you to get really, really honest. And if you're really that afraid, just think about who do you think you are then, right? I never knew about this fear. So interesting. But I think it's great for us to talk about it. So if you need to burn it, rip it up, hide it, whatever. But you don't actually have to write it. You can actually just think about it in your mind. Who do you think you are? I also want you guys to do one thing for me. Please, every single one of you tomorrow that is going to be on this live on the YouTube channel or on the YouTube channel or on live on Zoom, or if you are watching the replay, go do this also. You're not going to bring it to the live event, but I want you to go do it. I want you to find a picture of you as a child. Every single one of you. Okay? Get it ready. If you have it on your phone, if you have it printed, does not matter. I just want every single one of you tomorrow when we talk about this, I want you to have a picture of you as a child. It could be a baby. It could be 5 years old. It could be 12 years old. It does not matter. But I want you to bring a picture of you as a child to tomorrow's live event, please. Okay? I have a song for us, in Kathleen's style. We're going to end with a song. And this song, remember how I said, according to whom? According to who? All these beliefs that you have about you, all of these things that are sitting in your consciousness, I want you to ask the question, according to who? And this song is so perfect. It's Selena Gomez and someone else called Who Says. It's so good. So we'll end it. I will see you all tomorrow. Scholarship tomorrow. We're also going to talk about Diamond Academy and what we have going on here. We have some pretty special stuff going on, man. You just wait. Anyways, love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving